Coming up on The Big Room, during the whole like proposal moment, that's when we were like fighting a piss.
We had to pause the movie, and I was like,
"Oh, this was mid-movie."
I was like,
mid-movie.
We had 12 minutes
This
left.
can't wait.
And I'm like, no, you're not listening to me.
No, it's like the romantic climax. He is pouring his heart out. He is coming to her not as a prince, but a man in love.
Oh.
And he takes off her dirty shoe
just
and puts
Henry.
on the jeweled
Because
shoe
we have
because
to
he loves
shoehorn
her.
the jeweled
And
shoe in.
we're pissed off
Literally.
at each other. Like, it was terrible.
You did this, Drew Barrymore. Thanks, dude.
It's all Drew Barrymore's fault.
Welcome back to The Big Room, where we put the glass slipper of podcast onto the supple, regal foot of your ears. We watched Ever After. We watched a Cinderella movie.
We did.
We promised this, what, 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago,
And then you
I
got the flu?
I decided to go method because this movie set in medieval times where they probably had to deal with a lot of plague. And so that's how committed I am to this podcast. I was like, I'm going to experience the plague.
Gotta have the right perspective.
Yeah. So it really informed my viewership.
Gross.
And it's good to be back.
Your jeans are so grabby. I threw a hair on Nick's knee and then picked it off because I'm a
Gross.
nice guy. So
Ew.
I don't have anything to, I have no topics to really talk about, I don't think.
No?
No, I
No
bought
lead
light
topics?
bulbs today. Changed
That's
the light bulbs.
Wow.
really exciting.
Ordered a new phone.
I mean, we've done nothing for the last week because plague.
You've been sick.
Yeah. So
So today is the first time we've both left the house since we were both on our trips 2 weeks ago. So that's nice. We just got done cleaning dog crap off of our dog.
you got to clean dog crap off your dog.
Because she can't poop right.
Poor Phoebe.
But she's so cute.
So that was fun. I almost threw up. Let's just talk about the movie then.
Yeah.
Ever After.
My movie.
This is the last in the series that should have been more fun than it was of our favorite movies. What we've learned, at least from reception from our very small audience, is that I have the best favorite movie.
Listen.
That's unfortunately true.
Mine's still to be determined.
Mine's
Yeah,
a
that's
joke.
Well,
true. Carl's hasn't had enough time.
Mine hit the
to-
ground running.
Yours did hit the
On
ground running.
TikTok, though, Cameron's
Oh,
is
well.
king.
Yeah, I've got like 10,000 views.
That's a different animal.
Because Smokey and
Yeah.
the Bandit's the best movie ever made, like I said. So
I can't believe how many comments were just quotes from the movie.
Yeah.
it's the whole movie.
insane.
It's a quote movie.
I didn't know people knew this movie that well.
I bet
To
all.
quote it like that.
I
And that
bet
they're on TikTok.
none of those commenters are younger than 35.
But they're on TikTok.
But well, so are a lot of old cool guys
for them.
doing cool guy stuff.
Not me.
So you were torn between two films, and you
Yes.
picked this one because you felt a stronger tie to it.
I did. So,
Why?
well, you guys know me. You know, I love a Disney. I'm a Disney girl. I love a fairy tale.
Right.
I love a period drama. And
You
that's
love a rom-com.
I love a rom-com.
You love a romance.
I love a romance. You know, I watched this for the first time when I was in 6th grade. Does that have another meaning that I don't know
No,
about?
it's just a stupid way to say romance.
Okay.
So 6th grade, you're
Anyways,
12.
I was 12. Whoops, I just bumped the wall.
Knock that down. That's fine.
Yeah, I saw this for the first time in 6th grade, and I don't know, it's been a comfort film for me for a really long time. You know, I love the spin on Cinderella. You know, I love the extra details of her, you know, getting to know the prince, and I love just like there's a little bit more feminist takes in there, you know.
Yeah, I heard it.
Her name's Danielle.
Her name's Danielle. My name's
I wrote that was my
Danielle.
first note. I said, of course, her name is Danielle. Bury the lead.
That's not why I like it.
I will say I read today as I was doing 35 seconds of research that one of the reasons that Roger Ebert reviewed this movie well is because Drew Barrymore is playing a 16th century this is set in 14th century.
Yeah, I think so.
So she's
Something like
playing. This movie takes place in the 19th century for the opening and ending scenes, and then the 16th century for all this part. And he said that she's playing a 1990s progressive character in like a period piece, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
So in 2024, it comes off as two period pieces because it's a very 90s feeling character. Like this is it's very frenzy, very, you know, it's
She's kind of manic pixie dream girl a little bit.
yeah.
Did you guys ever watch the show Shiloh? Or not Shiloh?
I've never heard of that.
What's the dog that solve crimes.
Wishbone.
Wishbone.
Ah,
Shiloh's a dog movie.
that's another dog movie.
I don't know
Close.
why I couldn't put a pin on it, but this just
felt
gave
like
me
that.
the
This
same.
reminded you of Wishbone.
It didn't remind me. It just gave me that same feeling.
I kind of love that.
Ever After reminds me of Air Bud.
I don't. I know that makes no sense. I think it was just the time.
He would go back
was
in
90s.
history and like, you know.
Does dog time travel?
And they always had
Yeah.
a glowy wash on everything. If I
How
remember
do
right.
how am I the only
Yeah.
one who's never heard of this?
We'll have to look it up after.
He used to wear like a detective hat and all that, like
Yeah.
the full like Sherlock garb. Yeah,
I'm at a
why?
loss.
Oh my god.
Man.
I wanted to ask these two because she mentioned this was her comfort movie. If y'all had a comfort movie or show or something that you, like, for me, I've said it 100 times. It's Harmontown and Top Gear. That's what I watch when I'm in a rut. Or Smoking the Bandit, hilariously, or Phantom Menace. That's my wheelhouse.
I don't know that I'd use the word comfort. My go-to is Community.
Okay,
Yep.
Carl, what about
Community,
you?
Adventure Time.
Adventure Time.
I don't really do movies as a comfort. I put shows on so I can just keep going.
Yeah, same.
I used to
Yeah.
watch a lot of movies when I was sick as a kid. I had a bit that I said Star Wars would heal me. So normally, like, by the time I got through Return of
Use
the
the
Jedi,
Force.
I was on the mend.
He was
Yeah.
feeling better.
And if I wasn't feeling better, I would go right back into New Hope and just burn through them all again.
So I haven't ever watched this with a man who isn't my father. And what I learned is my father is a saint. And I've felt guilty for picking this movie for weeks, but I refuse to feel guilty
Trey-
because I love it and it's favorite movie month. And probably how you guys felt watching this is how I feel watching Blade Runner and 2001: A Space
Yeah.
Odyssey. So.
Yeah, Trey is very Trey is definitely a man in a house of three women. So like he never watches sports.
Yeah.
He does manly stuff. Like he does his mountain biking and
He
breaks
does.
his neck and
He's a
whatever
man's
else.
man.
Whereas like you living with me, our house is like your parents' house is very peaceful. It's very quiet. There's
Yeah.
no noise ever.
No.
It's very silent, and then they talk
It's
about
very
their
calm.
feelings. And then she moves into my house
Yeah.
where the TV's on 24/7 because if there's not noise, I will kill myself. There's sports on whenever there is a sport. And there's not a lot of princess movies. And if there is, I'm not in the room.
He doesn't. I just don't even ask him to
No.
watch. I just know.
Because I'm in
like,
here punching my desk and playing Call of Duty.
He's doing his thing. So when we turned this movie on, I literally got like misty eyed. I was like, Cameron's gonna watch my movie with
Oh
me.
boy.
And then we got into a large marital argument
Got into a fight.
because of this movie. And we'll explain. I want to talk about
It was
this.
not the experience that I was hoping for.
No,
but it's
I want to
okay.
talk about our row at the end because it was a genuine like relationshipy misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that
We'll
more
talk about
later.
it later.
I want to get into.
Marriage.
I gotta say, this is my first
Is this your first like princessy?
Cinderella.
Oh my
shit.
God,
There's
let's
something
talk
else to
about
talk
it.
about. Yes. So we are watching. Let me try to find our chat. Try to find it. Like I don't know where our own Discord is. Join the Discord. You wouldn't have seen this conversation because it was in our private channel.
Secret time.
We talked a lot today. You're gonna have to scroll.
Let me see. Nick goes, I'm 2 minutes into this movie and I realize there is some knowledge I need before watching this. Now, I assume you were in the
Some knowledge.
I assume you were in the 19th century, like she's talking about the painting and blah, 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 like the old lady before we get into Drew Barrymore time. Is that where you were at?
Yeah.
And
The
because
second
they do talk a little bit about Cinderella, like from a perspective of we're about to show you this movie. So it's a foreshadowing, but also like, you know, at this point, I think the Disney version's been out for 40 or 50 years.
Yeah. Pushing 50.
Yeah.
Cinderella came out in 51, I think.
Yeah.
yeah, the old lady's in the bed. Is she in a bed?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
at the end of 2001.
And she like what? Oh my god, okay. She's like, yeah, I didn't like your version because she interviews the children's author. or
She's
whatever.
interviewing the Brothers Grimm, who
yeah.
wrote a lot of the like Rumpelstiltskin, Rapunzel, a lot of these old
All the things
fairy
you've never
tales.
heard of.
All these things, The Princess and the Frog.
No, I've heard of them. I've just never
Do
seen
I have
them.
I don't. I used to have my mother's copy of the Brothers Grimm, which if you've
My
never known,
mother's copy of the Brothers Grimm.
and my mother's maiden name used to be Grimm. Hilarious.
Whoa.
Go ahead.
That's bananas.
No, but she says something along the lines of, I didn't like what you did with this story. And I went, oh no, if this movie is based off of what these people did with this story, I have no idea what the story is to begin with.
Should we do this now? Let's just do it now because we're talking about it. So,
Sure.
Disney's Cinderella. No, I don't know how I want to run this episode. Disney. Let's talk about Disney Cinderella, and then we'll still do our fight at the end. In the Disney one and in the Brothers Grimm one, those two are very similar, with the ending being different.
Well, Disney just Disney-fies it.
Disney
cuts out some of the gruesomeness.
What I did is I went on YouTube and I searched Cinderella story quick. And watched
Oh my
like
God.
a Disney
Notes.
6-minute short story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my only knowledge of
Ever
Cinderella
After
now.
is very out of order. So Ever After does one enormous narrative departure in that Prince Charming and Cinderella have met one another before the ball. In the Disney one, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been probably 15 years since I've seen Cinderella. The evil stepsisters and the stepmother are going to this ball that the king and the king and queen are holding. Is it for the intent of finding?
Yes, he throws the ball, and all of the eligible ladies of the land are invited to attend because the prince needs to find a wife.
It's not a masquerade.
No.
They've never met before. So Cinderella gets locked in the house and gets told, you can't go because you're Cinderella, F you.
She's pretty, and they're like, you can't come.
So
see
the ugly
prince."
stepsisters
Like,
and the stepmother are
Right.
going. Cinderella cries, sad. Fairy godmother comes. Magic dress, magic shoes, turns pumpkins into a magic horse carriage.
Yep.
All of this goes when the clock strikes midnight. So she has to be gone and home before midnight, and all the magic fades away, and then she's back in her raggedy servant dress and all this crap. She meets Prince Charming. Blah, blah, blah. They have a great time. She's like the hottest lady there. The clock starts striking midnight. Like we get like 1 or 2 or 3 bell dings from the clock. And she runs down the stairs, leaves behind the glass slipper. And so the whole point of Cinderella, the original, is the prince has to find this lady by trying this shoe on every lady in the
Because
land.
the spells weren't off.
Because the spells worn off. But weirdly, the shoes left behind. But no, the lady...
You don't
Oh,
question
true.
it.
Cinderella left without before telling her name and all this shit because she's just like, I got to get home before my carriage turns into pumpkins. You know what I mean? So the
Cool.
shoe is all he has. The shoe in this version is essentially an engagement ring. In the real story, it's like this is how he finds Cinderella because
Because the
the
shoe
shoe
fits.
only fits her. In the Brothers Grimm version, Prince Charming is going to all these houses. And he gets to the evil stepmother's house, and she goes, I have 2 daughters. Maybe the shoe will fit one of them. They take the shoe in. The daughters slice off their heels and toes to fit in the shoe. The first one does it. They get in the carriage with the prince, and the prince goes, there's a lot of blood on the floor. You're pulling my leg.
You don't have any
This
toes.
happens again.
Any
The
toes.
other sister cuts her feet too, fits in the slippers. Yay, it was me the whole time. Blood on the carriage again, and then Cinderella happens and we're happily ever after. That's the more metal version that the Brothers Grimm wrote.
Is their version also the one where at the end the stepsister's eyes get plucked out?
Yes.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
gross.
it's metal. The Brothers Grimm are metal.
Yeah.
Like their fairy tales are like not Disneyfied.
So
Like
that's
all.
who the 2 dudes at the
That's
beginning
who
of
the
this
2 dudes
movie
at the
were.
beginning are. And she's going, you've messed up my story, A, to justify all the narrative changes for this movie, and B, because the Brothers Grimm wrote horror shows. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, that was
Was
my,
that a fair enough synopsis?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
I don't want to
And Disney's is like the 1800s, right? This is like
Yeah.
medieval.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
more medieval.
Yeah.
And, you know, Disney's like, castles are great and not really dark, moldy, horrible places to
They're
be.
not really fortresses for war.
Right.
Yeah. Castles weren't
to
fun.
avoid siege. No, castles were a bummer.
Yeah.
The first thing I noticed, so obviously, because America's stupid, this is a movie that takes place in France, and thus, because we made it, has exclusively British accents. You never notice. So we start out with young
Wait.
baby.
Hold on.
You never notice? What does that mean?
So
How
I'm
do you
getting
not
there. I'm
notice?
getting there. So we start out with young baby Drew Barrymore. That's not Drew Barrymore, right? It's young, tiny Cinderella. Her
Yeah.
dad's still alive. We have to establish that the dad croaks and the stepmother's there and blah, blah, blah,
She
right?
gets jealous.
So the kid has a British accent, and I told Danielle, do I have to sit through not only Drew Barrymore, who I do not like, but Drew Barrymore trying to do a British accent, and she goes, I don't know, I never noticed. That answer, by the way, is yes, we do have to listen to Drew Barrymore try to do a British accent.
I just always, in my head, I was like,
noticed.
it's medieval speak. It's just whatever. I don't know. I never
So
like.
you knew there was an accent.
I knew she was
Medieval
talking
speak.
funny,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like I didn't think like she's doing a British accent. I was
she
just
is.
like she's trying to sound.
Hey, she's got a better
Medievally.
British accent than DiCaprio has a Boston one. That's for damn sure.
Ayo.
The other thing that cracked me up is
Nick's
that
like-
I disagree.
you're objectively wrong.
I
If
would-
you're gonna defend DiCaprio's Boston accent, you have holes in your brain.
From
Any movie that Scorsese's ever made with him in it, it's worse in.
Gangs.
No,
That is
Shudder.
worse though because he's trying to do
no,
an Irish accent.
the other one.
Departed.
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 is
Departed.
great. No, the worst accent in
Added.
Gangs is Cameron Diaz doing whatever the hell she was doing.
Irish or
That's pretty
whatever.
bad too. Oh man.
So the stepmom's Morticia Adams. That was cool.
yeah,
Angelica Houston is a queen.
She is the
plays
best.
the perfect evil like woman. So good.
She's 10 out of 10. And
Yeah.
she to me is Morticia Adams, so that was a little odd. But also, like, man, she's so creepy.
She's so creepy and mean.
It's also really rich that at the end of the movie, she calls Cinderella mannish. And I was like, I mean,
I mean,
mirror, mirror on the wall. Then the dad dies 30 feet from the door, which is hilarious.
do we know why?
Heart attack.
Heart attack.
That's why when he
but-
goes for his
They're
thing.
about to be Gone with the Wind, like immediately, like the horse falling.
I thought that
Heart attacks. I don't know, man.
I thought that she for a second I was like, did she kill him?
No. She barely knew him.
But her reaction was legit.
It's also interesting that the dad was like, yeah, he's a landowner and has a nice house, but she actually outranked him.
Huh.
The stepmother was a baroness.
yeah.
Someone explain to me what that is.
So Baroness is actually the lowest ranking form of nobility.
In
I
the
don't
feudal-
remember
in
what
this
in
feudal
like
system.
I think it's like Duke, Marquis,
Marquis. Which is we learned about in Downton
Earl, Viscount, Baron.
Abbey. Baron,
So
baroness,
she's
so
like
true.
nobility, but she's the bottom nobility.
Like in our American government system, it would be like she's a governor compared to like senators, congressmen, presidents, like or even county commissioner. Like she's really, really low down there, but she is still nobility. So she has rank. She gets invited to the king and
She
queen
gets
crap.
to go to the parties.
Yep. So she's far more important than he is. He's marrying up and croaked.
Yep.
He didn't wave. He had a heart attack. He died.
Should have waved.
And then
wave.
I guess it's kind of very lightly implied that one of the origins of disdain that the evil stepmother has for Cinderella or Danielle, she's called Cinderella like 2 times, is that the father basically snubs the wife to tell Cinderella that I love you and blah, blah, blah. Like he looks at the wife and is like, and just
He gives her a glance, but his daughter.
gives her a
loves his
glance.
daughter,
None of the
you know?
I wrote wife snub cold. And then I started singing like he dies, and then I started singing "You Gave Love a Bad Name" by Bon Jovi, and Danielle wasn't amused. Like the dude dies, and I'm like, "Shot to the heart, and you're too late." And I thought I was being funny.
That's good.
I always
That's a good
skip.
bit.
So whenever I watch this, I always skip this part. I always skip the like intro part and then this part because it's like we know it's Cinderella. He dies. So I always
Yeah.
We get
start
it.
like when she's Drew Barrymore.
Flash forward.
Yeah.
I wrote Drew Barrymore doing 15% of an English accent. The other really, really funny thing that I don't think is bad, I think it's funny, is that the fairy godmother the role is played by Leonardo da Vinci, which is insane, right?
Yeah.
It reminded me of Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh my God, he was the fairy godmother.
Yeah, he's the fairy godmother
Yeah.
role,
The whole time I was like, so we're replacing magic with science?
which is
Like, what kind
kinda
of propaganda
cool.
is this? Like,
So this
And they make him quirky, kind of like a Merlin kind of character, because he's walking on
Yeah.
water and he's got his
With his
flying
boats.
contraption, and yeah, it's very
got
very
his
cool.
boats.
Would that work?
The whole Mona Lisa thing.
No.
MythBusters tried it. No, the whole Mona Lisa thing you brought up as BS because Mona Lisa was painted on a piece of wood and couldn't be rolled.
It is not historically accurate.
Well,
I was
But
also
it's
like,
okay.
nice waterproof Mona Lisa because they end up with the water with it.
so that makes sense about him. I wrote down that there were 2 useless characters. Da Vinci, which now I know. But her best friend. He was pointless.
No, he brings Da Vinci to the castle to get Cinderella out of the thing. Yeah.
He serves some purpose.
Okay. I mean,
he also
someone
spills the
else could have done
beans.
that.
He also spills the beans.
He spills the beans on where she's staying. Tells the prince, like, oh yeah, she's right over there.
Who her cousin is, yeah. I mean, he's not important, but he's like the piece of thread that ties a couple loose ends together. So, not useless.
I just hope he didn't have a crush on Danielle.
You know the short guy? The short evil guy?
Yeah.
He voices Dobby in Harry Potter.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know
It's
that.
pretty neat. Because what I was doing this whole movie, because one of my critiques of this film, really one of my only critiques of this film, is that the first half of it is really slow. For a man.
Pacing.
For a man. It has really slow pacing because I'm like, I don't care. Also, I'm going, where's the pumpkin carriage? You know what I mean? I was trying to Disney's Cinderella.
Half the fun is the magic, and they just gave us mechanics.
Did you watch this movie one time, Carl?
I watched it literally the day after we pulled it, so it was like very foggy, and I put it on the background today.
Like 14 days ago.
Yeah, I put it on the background today, but I didn't like pay attention.
I feel like the departure from Cinderella really threw Cameron off.
Oh, it threw me off so hard.
So, but that's why those are all the elements that I love. I love that the one stepsister is sympathetic and like then has her own redemption
like
and
her.
love.
In the credits,
What?
there's
You didn't like
evil
her?
stepsister and nice, literally in quotes, stepsister.
She got to be mean to her. I assume she was mean to her whole life. And then all of a sudden she gets to be nice and be on the other side of it. Like,
Well,
come on.
I-
You
there are-
deserve to
there-
get your
she
eyes
was
plucked
kind of-
out.
Wow.
There are looks that she gives during certain scenes where you're like, she's not quite.
You know, and she's not pretty,
she's not
so
on
her mom hates her, because she's like,
'cause she's not
I
as
can't
pretty
marry
as-
you off to the prince. You're worthless to me.
she's not as
Yeah.
pretty as the blonde one that looks like one of the witches from
Didn't she make her dress in
Hocus
like a
Pocus.
pig costume or something?
Yeah, horse.
Yeah,
But then she finds the other guy,
other
the
horse.
princess dude. It's also a
Pretty
horse.
funny. Yeah.
That's a good thing. I
was
did
fun.
like the king at one point. Prince Charming's dad yells. I wrote this down. I'm going to read it as I wrote it.
Okay.
Quote, "You are the crown prince of France." Quote, "A British man." And then later, I had a note on the prince. Where is it? So the prince is a Scottish man with an Italian complexion and a British accent who's supposed to be French. Got it. That's amazing.
Yep. We just ignore it. Listen, in America, French accents don't exist in movies. It's just they don't.
Speaking of the Da Vinci scene, the only quote I wrote down, other than that one, is when Da Vinci is walking on water and he finds Danielle in the water and goes, "Hello," and she freaks out. He ends that scene by saying, "I shall leave walking on water to the Son of God." And that's very funny to me. I cracked up with that. It's a good line. Da Vinci is a great character. Then we had the tennis scene. Let's talk about the tennis scene because you hate the tennis
I
scene.
hate the tennis scene. Well, so
Tennis?
again, I watched this for the first time when I was in 6th grade. So like the worst thing to me were the cups.
You called them, quote,
I call-
penis things.
It
called them
looks like the
Dude.
Droogs in A Clockwork Orange.
Like, why did
Yeah.
they not put them inside the pants?
Well, then
like, why are they just out?
They also have Prince Charming in linen pants for like the whole second half of the movie, and his dick is just right there.
Dude is packing.
He is.
flopping around in that.
It is. He's just hanging brain the whole movie.
That's why I love it. No,
yeah,
it's
you're like,
not.
look at these dicks.
No.
Now it makes sense.
Can't wait for these hot points. Yeah. Oh man.
Did you do hot
I
points?
heard something, and I want to see if you guys heard it. When the prince goes after the stolen painting that turns out to be Mona Lisa,
Right.
it sounds like he hits the horse and he's like, "Fuck, fuck, fuck."
No, I didn't hear that.
Go to the 20-minute mark. I listened to it 4 times, and I'm like, I swear to God, it's like it sounds just like it.
Huh.
Which there's no way, but it's. I mean, it
Yeah, 'cause
like
Da Vinci,
I was like,
it's the scene where Da Vinci's trying to sell him on helping me out. Essentially, he's like,
Yeah.
the bandits took it,
And he's like, there's some time thing where he's being chased by somebody else too, and he's like, I don't know if I have time to do both. And he goes like, fuck, 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 and like goes
No,
off on the
there's
horse.
no way.
It sounds. I mean, there's definitely no way, but it's like it's uncanny. Like it's so
we'll have to
crazy.
look that up after the show.
Yeah.
I
have to
just
go back
tried
and let
to,
me know,
but
yeah.
don't Google that.
Yeah.
Not the search results that I wanted.
Just Google Prince Charming fuck. How many? And Google's like, no results. Safe search is on.
Blurs all the results. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
there's the scene too where it's a really cool scene.
Gonna clear my
Speaking of 1990s, like feminism, where I don't remember why Drew Barrymore's in the woods.
So they go. So he comes and picks her up, and he says, "Would you like to go with me to the monastery?" And then they go to the monastery and they talk about books and art, and they fall
That's
in love.
right. And he's like,
And he
I've
was-
never seen anyone with as much passion in all my years of getting
And you
tutored
hated
as you have. And
hated it.
and I was like,
You were
dumb,
like, ugh,
dumb.
cringe.
dumb. I
And
didn't like that
so-
line.
But then on the way home, his carriage, the wheel falls off or whatever, so they walk back and get lost because
And then
he's
they
a
get
man.
accosted by
Didn't
bandits.
ask for directions.
And he's on the ground, and she's up on a hill.
She climbs up the hill.
And leaves her dress or something so
Yeah,
she
she
can
couldn't climb
better.
in the big old dress.
And they get attacked by bandits, and Prince Charming says to Cinderella, "Stay aloft, madam." And I said, that must have been a rewrite. We need more medieval sounding words, and "stay there" ain't doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Stay aloft, madam. And there's a really good scene where she does negotiate with terrorists, like the U.S. government, and they tell her, like, you can take anything you can carry, and she just picks Prince Charming's ass up, and all the bandits start laughing, and they all do a face turn, and they end up like partying and hanging out
we'll
together.
give you a horse.
And that's a good movie. I like that.
So,
and then they even
but
get invited to the ball
Yeah, it's great.
or to the wedding.
It's something.
Some.
they get invited to the ball. So then, we're watching that scene in our living room, and I look at Cameron and I go, I don't think I could pick you up to save you. You'd just be dead. And so Cameron goes, try. And I'm
So
like, oh my God.
We didn't do a
That's what the fight was about.
We didn't commit to fireman carry.
No, I don't think I could do it. But I did
But
like.
she did like do the hook and held me for a couple of
I
seconds.
did
I'm
a
like, yeah.
step.
Look at
So
you.
I'm like, I could maybe do it, especially if, his life was at risk
if
and
you
my
have the
adrenaline
adrenaline.
was rushing.
Yep.
Yeah,
all right, I can
women can
save
lift
you.
cars
Yeah.
and stuff.
I think that was
Yeah.
one of my
You
favorite
could do
scenes
it.
in the movie.
It's a great scene.
That was a good one.
Also, it's based off of an actual like historical like. I don't know if it's a tall tale if it really happened, but there was like a castle that was under siege, and like the siegers were like, they were gonna let the women go, and they told them you can take whatever you can carry, and they all carried their husbands out.
The dogs are
Just-
arguing.
Wow.
So that's kind of based on an actual like, myth or legend, if you will.
shut up.
Yeah.
Are you barking?
I feel like it leans on myth. There's no way everyone
Nah.
can carry their husband.
But it's a damn good myth. It's a good
Yeah.
myth. Can we skip to the ball?
Yeah.
Let's skip to the ball.
The rest of the movie is a lot of, falling in love
Back
and
and
talking
forth.
back and forth.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
I-
fast.
really slow pace.
You know,
I love it.
Him
It's-
trying to find her.
Stepmother's being rude. and-
Stepmother.
oh, stealing clothes, and it's all whatever. Important.
punching your sister.
Yeah.
Sisters burning a book.
Important,
That was
but not
awful.
worth.
That was awful.
Not worth 30 minutes of people's lives. So let's skip to the ball.
Skip to the good part.
So
Ugh, yeah.
let me
Thank you.
think.
Got you.
How does she get to the ball? Oh, Da Vinci
Da Vinci comes.
breaks her out. But before
breaks her
that,
out.
we have like a scene where it's Horsehead guy, right? Or somebody knocks
First head guy.
the short guy out.
Oh.
Like the evil short
It's
guy.
her friend Gustav.
Gustav.
Oh,
does
he
it.
does have a purpose.
So he's taking a leak. The short little minion man is taking a leak.
Drop something on his head.
He drops a pot full of poop on his head. And I
missed
went, that killed him. And
Yeah.
Danielle goes, no, he's just knocked out. And I said, do we ever see that character again? And she goes, no.
Oh my god,
He killed that man with
knocked
a
out
shit pot.
forever.
Yeah.
that's canon.
What a way to go.
That bitch is dead. And then this is the point of the scene. Yeah. So, what's his face? Help.
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci?
Nope. The
Gustav?
Gustav. No.
Gustav.
One. Yeah. I sang the Gaston song a lot last night. No, Gustav goes and gets Da Vinci. And Da Vinci breaks Cinderella. She's been locked in a cellar. Breaks Cinderella out by just pulling the hinge pins.
That was funny.
Really
Genius.
funny. Although hilarious that then they like move the door as if it was on opposite hinges, and also you can't just pull out, go try to pull hinge pins out.
It was Da Vinci.
It's Da Vinci. It was a medieval door.
He had that Italian magic. He had
That's true.
The pizza hands, just
The pizza.
pizza hands. And that's where it was apparent to me that I wrote down Da Vinci being the fairy godmother is bold, ridiculous, and egregious, but I like it. Talk about the evil stepmother ruining the ball, because it was that was an interesting twist too.
Just at the ball. So
Yeah, like exposing.
Yeah, well, she gets to the ball.
You'll have to explain, I guess, backstory about how Cinderella's been lying to Prince Charming this whole time.
Well, yeah. Well, she originally goes and meets Prince Charming because she's going to save one of their servants who gets sold to the Americas, and she gets the money, and she's like, "I'm gonna go buy him back."
It's one of the servants' husbands who is also a servant.
Yeah, who's
because
also a
the stepmother's just been selling shit to keep the place afloat.
Rude. So, I think because she was there at the castle, she had to come up with a fake. I think the prince is like, tell me your name, because he's immediately enraptured with her with love.
Sure.
She's bold. She's speaking her mind. She's saving men from slavery.
Oh, boy.
What a queen. And so she lies and gives him a false name, and then it just kind of spirals from there.
Her mother's name is what she gives him.
She tries to tell him several times the truth,
Including
but
right before this happens.
he don't want to listen because he's a man, of course. So as he's going to be like, let's go meet my dad or whatever, I don't know, they're running through the crowd and stepmother grabs her and rips her wing off and then exposes her.
So it's like, basically, she's a servant, she's of no nobility, and she's been lying to you. And then Prince Charming is bummed out about it.
Yep.
He's been had.
I mean,
Kind of reasonable.
it's pretty reasonable.
it's reason.
I'm
I'm with you.
Da Vinci gives him the business. He literally yells horse shit at him and tells him you're blowing your opportunity, and then he puts the shoe on the wall because she does leave the shoe behind. This is probably where we talk about our shoe fight.
Oh boy.
So here's the deal. I wrote down in my notes, when Da Vinci puts the shoe on the wall, I went, it feels like they've written themselves into a corner with this shoe. Because, like we said in the original, the shoe is the driving force behind the Cinderella plot. It is the only thing that Prince Charming has to try to find this nameless woman he's never seen or met before, doesn't know her name. He just knows she wore this shoe. Somehow nobody else in the world is going to have this shoe size. And I have to use this shoe to find her. However, in this film, because Cinderella and Prince Charming have met and have talked to each other for 90 minutes, the shoe then has almost no purpose. It is a shitty engagement ring at the end of the movie. And I felt that was one of the greatest departures from the source material to this movie. What she heard is, screw your stupid, dumb movie that changed things. And while I'm getting frustrated trying to prove my point, because what I'm hearing is, you're not making an intelligent showcase of the differences between these two movies. And then I'm like, screw you, I'm being smart. And it was a 30-minute row.
And I was trying. Well, what I was trying to explain was you're right, but
you thought I was saying it was
matter.
worse for it.
Yeah, I thought you were saying the movie was the fact that the shoe didn't matter made the movie worse, and I was saying no, it does. I don't think it doesn't matter.
I don't think it makes it better, to be fair. But when you rewrite Cinderella like this, something has to give. Two things gave, really. Although we had a replacement for Fairy Godmother, but there's no magic in this. There's no singing rats either. I think the rats are the best part.
The magic
of the Disney
of
one.
love.
There's none of that stuff. No carriage, no fairy godmother, no magic. We have Leonardo da Vinci, which is equally ridiculous, maybe even more so. So that gets a thumbs up for me because that's fantastically funny. But I still maintain that when you write a story like this, they had to have been at the writer's room going, what do we do with the slipper? We have to do something with the slipper because it's not Cinderella without the slipper. My retort would have been, yes, it is, because we've changed literally almost everything about this story functionally while still maintaining loosely the same narrative because we have them talking to one another. And that is very evident as you're watching the movie because if you had seen Cinderella, you would have been spending the entire first hour and 20 minutes going, where is the ball? That's what you would have been doing. That's what I was doing. Going, when is the ball going to happen? And then it became very evident that whole thing was going to, like, they flipped the script on its head almost as far as timeline goes. They go, raw. And the ball is in freaking it's like the bridge between act 2 and 3. And I don't think it's bad. I definitely do not prefer it to Cinderella. But also, like, my favorite Cinderella, again, is the Grimm, like the original Grimm writing.
Yeah, I think, too, part of why, like, I got flustered last night was one of my other favorite things is Wicked.
Oh,
and
God,
as soon as we got to the ending, like, Cameron
I was on board in that musical for 2 hours, and then they unkilled Elphaba, and I'm like, dumb. I felt that pulling that punch was weak in the exact same way that I felt that in Rise of Skywalker after they killed Chewbacca and then went, nope. That's dumb. That's cowardly. Kill him. It's a better movie if you kill Chewbacca. It's also stupid because you're pulling at heartstrings just for an emotional response. But it's cowardice to then rewind on it.
That's all movies.
No. It's different, like, in that situation. And I feel like this is similar. I wrote an analogy
but anyways,
today.
we got, like, one of my favorite things. We watched that together, and, you know, as soon as, like, the ending changed and shifted, you were out. I
was like, that movie's stupid.
I'm like, here's another one of my favorite things. And as soon as, like, it's different enough, Cameron was like, he did.
And
what I heard
so
was
excited that he was watching it with you.
I know. So when he said that, I was like, God damn it, he's out again.
Well,
like, he hates everything that I love.
With Wicked, it's like, Wicked's pretty cool. Because if you've seen Wizard of Oz, Wicked really tiptoes around Wizard of Oz scenes. Because it's like, here's what the Wicked Witch of the West essentially was doing while Dorothy was doing all this shit. And it kind of peeks you behind the curtain. It's like the flip side of the coin. And then they took this coin and went, it's now worth $1 million at the end. And I didn't like it.
But they're in love.
Because it's too happy.
She loves the Scarecrow.
I think
they go off and be in love.
And then they
together.
become human, and it's stupid.
They don't become.
I don't know.
I don't
so
know what
here's what I
happens
wrote
to them.
down. Here's what I wrote down this morning. And this is going to be a Star Wars analogy, and it is going to be loose.
Everyone is shocked.
Okay.
I'm loose. We've never had a Star Wars analogy.
Here's a loose one. And this is, so here's the thing. Here's what I wrote down. Changing the story to where Prince Charming and Cinderella know one another before the ball, and thus removing the narrative climax of the slipper fitting, is like rewriting Star Wars to where when Obi-Wan and Luke are on Tatooine right after they get attacked by the Tusken Raiders. And he asks him, like, oh, the more elegant weapon for a more civilized age. It's like if Obi-Wan tells Luke that Vader is his father then. You still get the narrative of the I sense good in him, redemptive arc of Vader in Return of the Jedi, but you lose the no, I am your father moment in Empire as a consequence. And that's a similar thing to me with this movie, where you lose the climax of this movie doesn't hit the same when the shoe fits, is my point. You get the same story, essentially. You would get the same story in Star Wars, but you lose two pivotal moments. You lose no, I am your father. You lose the slipper fitting. It's the woman I've been looking for. That was my point.
I see. The difference is, though, the audience isn't in on the I am your father moment, but we are in on who Cinderella is.
Right. So it is a little different.
But I see what you're saying.
That's kind of the analogy. Like, you end up with loosely the same story, but you switch one impactful moment for another.
So, to your point, the audience is in on it. I obviously wasn't because I didn't know anything about this.
That's so funny.
I could not care less about the
insane.
shoe. It meant nothing to me. I was not bothered by it, obviously, because I don't have any reference for it.
We should watch this.
It was just a thing that happened.
This is not a bit. I want to do a month this year where we watch old Disney movies. And the first one I want to watch is Cinderella. For you to be like,
I'm in.
oh. Plus, they're
Have you
all
seen
like,
Snow White?
I'm sure. I don't.
Are you sure? But, like, are we sure?
I brought up.
I would be sure
I am
that you
picturing scenes, but
Cinderella. Okay.
that also just might be from
Carl,
being on the
Snow
internet.
White,
Yeah.
Snow White, Cinderella. I brought up Sleeping Beauty, and Danielle said meh.
Well, there's just so, like, there's
Beauty
so
and
many.
the Beast over Sleeping
Beauty
Beauty.
and the
I think.
Beast.
That
for
is
sure.
exactly what I said.
And like Lion King. Have you seen Lion King?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have seen like.
Like, oh my God.
There's a couple I've never seen that I want to watch, like Treasure Planet.
Monsters,
and
Inc.?
Atlantis.
Yeah,
Monsters
sure.
Inc.
Okay,
so
good.
good.
I feel like that one's new
Monsters
enough.
Inc.'s great.
So it was just funny too during the whole like proposal
Bear.
moment. That's when we were like fighting a
We had
piss.
to pause the movie, and I was like,
Oh,
"Hey."
this was mid-movie.
I was
is
like,
mid-movie.
We had
No.
12
You were
minutes
like, this
left,
can't wait.
and I'm like, "No, you're not listening to me."
No. And like
Then I went and made a drink.
it's like the romantic climax. He is pouring his heart out. He is coming to her not as a prince but a man in love, and he takes off her dirty shoe
just
and puts
Henry.
on the jeweled
Because
shoe
we have
because
to
he loves her.
shoehorn the jeweled
And
shoe in.
we're pissed off at
Literally.
each other. Like it was just terrible. Like it was terrible.
You did this, Drew Barrymore. Thanks, dude.
It's all Drew Barrymore's fault. And then another hilarious moment. Drew Barrymore enters the ball, and all Cameron could say
What?
is how wide set her eyes were.
Oh yeah, she looks like a damn alien.
So, again, she's in her beautiful dress.
Why does she have wings?
Because Da
does she
Vinci,
have
Da
wings?
It's a
Vinci,
masquerade ball.
it's a masquerade
It's her
ball. and
costume.
she had winged eye makeup, and the eye makeup was like platinum, and like whatever contours they did, like almost moved her eyes to the side of her head, like a bird. And I was like, dude,
Hammerhead.
she looks like her. I said out loud, her eyes are in different zip codes,
Yeah.
and that's rude.
Oh my God.
I don't like Drew Barrymore. I wouldn't. I'm not gonna knock her looks officially on a podcast, but I did say that.
You did. You did say that.
I think it's makeup's fault, not her fault. I don't think her eyes are really far apart. Normally, just in that scene.
In that scene,
the way they did her eye makeup,
wasn't
I was like,
hitting.
wow, she's got a 6 inches in between her eyeballs right now.
I tried to watch because I guess she has her own talk show.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
It's really cringy. Have you seen clips where she like,
No.
dude? So with her talk show, she's actually come under fire on like Twitter and stuff for this because she has no regard for people's personal space. So what she will do is like, it's your typical Ellen or anything, Graham Norton show, whatever talk show where the host is in a chair and there's a couch for the guest or 2 guests or whatever. Yeah. If the guest talks about anything emotional, she gets on the floor, basically in between their legs, grabs both of their hands and tries to like physically connect. And I would be like punching her in the face. I'd be like, get away from me.
Yeah, I
and
don't like
also
that.
it's like, as a viewer, it's like, can you stop touching Oprah? Like Oprah doesn't need you to be like, holding her hands and like getting all up in her business. I'd be like, get away from me. I'm Oprah. It's the worst. She's
Well, I
just
think
so.
I don't like
Drew
that.
Barrymore is known for like she was kind of traumatized as a child actor, so I think everyone knows she's a little crazy.
Yeah,
little
but
kooky.
I
a
don't
little
think
kooky.
that gives you a license to traumatize me on your talk show.
You're right.
I'd be like, get out of here, man. Come on. Like, I don't know. Like, how I took it, I didn't know that. How I took it was like, oh, I've got to be like, this is my unique spin on talk shows. I'll get up
Or just
inside
trying-
of their clothes.
Trying to create a moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And that too. It's like, oh, this will be viral. And it's like,
Yeah, that's gross.
dumb.
But no,
Kelly Clarkson would never.
Kelly, don't bring Kelly into this. She's perfect.
That's what I said. I love Kelly Clarkson.
I love her. She looks good.
Yeah, she looks great.
She's looking good. Anyways, go watch Kelly Clarkson show. But Drew Barrymore.
that throat clear.
Are you anti Kelly Clarkson, Carl?
No.
He just can't be bothered. He doesn't watch daytime television.
I'm just like, this is the weirdest episode. I have like no strong opinion on Drew Barrymore, but I kept thinking like her name is Drew.
Yeah,
When you say
I
her
said
full
that.
name, it sounds
I
right.
said that last night. Where
When you
like
say, yeah, it's
the
yeah,
first
it's like
time
Drew
Danielle and
Barrymore feels
her
okay.
we're talking over each other. It's the first time.
Yeah, sorry.
I said Drew, and Danielle went, "Ooh, when you say just Drew instead of Drew
Yeah.
Barrymore, it's odd."
It's odd.
It's weird. I was like, Drew, Carrie, Drew. How can they both have the same first name? Like, it's so weird. I was just like, imagine you're on the set and you're like, okay, Drew, give me one more. And then she turns, like, it's like, what? That's not who I thought was going to answer. Like, it's weird. I don't know. That's all I could think about the whole time. I was just like, Drew.
Drew Carey is definitely
Drew.
like Drew to me. Like I
He
hear,
looks like a
He's
Drew.
the better
I
Drew,
hear
for sure.
Cleveland rocks when I hear the name Drew.
Ohio.
She looks like an Allie or something, like, not a Drew.
Yeah,
It's a weird choice.
But like
yeah.
Allie, Allie. That's what she.
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a Y.
So,
all
yeah,
right.
that was my main takeaway. It's like, why did they name her that?
We're
It's a
heading
weird
for
name.
a short-ish episode, so I want to make a wrap on this by saying, final thoughts from you. on your choice. You never really. Well, you did say why. It was your favorite because it was your comfort food.
I mean, yeah, it's like comfort food to me.
I mean, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know, it checks all the boxes of things that I like. Like we said, romance, it's a fairy tale, it's period drama. I think it's got a good story. I like the development of the relationship.
So of the 4 versions of Cinderella that we have, right? Disney's done a live action, right?
Yeah.
So we have
I also
Ever
really
After,
like that one.
We have the original Cinderella. We have Ever
there's
After. We have Disney's Cinderella, and then we
many.
have the Black Cinderella that I wanted to watch and thought this was with Whoopi Goldberg,
We need that.
which apparently is trash.
Not for the podcast, but me and Cameron should watch it just because it's a hilarious
Is this your
experience.
favorite?
Yes.
Oh God, see that is insane to me.
No,
but
this is my
I'm an
favorite.
originals kind of guy. I like the first of things.
Yeah, I know. I just like the expansion of this story. The original Cinderella, there's no character development. It's just, we go to a ball, it's love at first sight. Oh, here's my shoe, it fits.
It is shallow.
So it's very shallow.
Well, you get a little more Cinderella at home being bummed out because we have the whole the mice
Yeah.
thing and stuff. So there's a little more of that.
But I don't
It's also like an hour.
Yeah, it moves. It's quick. When I've watched
Disney
it as an
movies are
adult, I'm like, oh my god, this is already over.
It's over. Yeah.
But as a kid, I remember the scene where like the mice are trying to steal the key and get it
Yeah.
up to Cinderella. I remember that dragging on for forever and
Tension.
being like, oh my god, like hurry up, these mice with their stupid key. Like
So what Cinderella should I go watch after this?
The Disney
one,
probably
yeah.
the Disney one.
but also don't because we might watch it.
right.
for this.
Right. We might. Watch
There's
this one.
also a Cinderella story with Hilary Duff and Chad Michael Murray, which is also
wow
up there.
Nope.
It's so good. It's 2004. The ball is the Halloween dance.
20 years ago.
The like secret relationship is texting and like AIM messaging.
Hey, in the fall,
It's so good.
late summer or fall. I think it's in August. We have the 20th anniversary of Reliant K's album. I went to that 10-year anniversary tour.
And that was just a couple years
I was
ago.
an adult 10 years ago. So it's 10 years ago.
You were an adult 10 years ago. Oh my God, we're old.
Aren't we dying? Carl, you've
Yes.
been awfully quiet. You mentioned
I talked so much last episode. I'm trying to balance out the
Jesus
scales.
Christ, you sure did. I said this to Danielle. I'm like, there were 2 or 3 moments last episode where I like had something to say or had a quote, and you could feel the show like slot back into its normal rhythm, and then you would just hit the gas again. It was really funny. I want to know, because you alluded briefly last week when we were talking about A, dodging a bullet of not having to talk about this movie, and B, I hadn't seen it yet, neither had he. I want to know your thought, because you alluded to not liking it is where I'm getting at. So
Yeah.
I want to know had you seen the original Cinderella? Where does this
I've seen
rank?
the original, yeah. I've only seen the original and then this one, and I feel like at least I was the right age to watch Cinderella. And this, I'm just way too old. I've got no nostalgia. And I definitely was like looking to see how much time was left.
Yeah,
a lot
it's got that
during
early
this.
2000s feel too, which doesn't
it
appeal to
feels
me.
like a Disney straight to TV movie. I mean, I thought it was
Yeah.
pretty good. Leonardo da Vinci was cool. I love art, so that was nice to see. But yeah, other than that, I was just like, all right, it's kind of tropey, and I could see it being a comfort movie, but it was not my kind of comfort movie.
Did you have any qualms about the way the story changed between the original and this, or am I just neurotic?
Well, I mean, the slipper is like the main iconography. It's like the most,
It's the Pulp Fiction
biggest thing in that
briefcase.
movie. Yeah, or
It's
the
even
apple
more
of Snow
important.
White. Like,
Yeah, the apple of Snow White.
So it's kind of weird to subvert that symbolism and kind of undermine it a little bit. But I mean, I think they took such big swings with everything else that you kind of have to sweep it under to kind of make it its own new thing.
Yeah.
I think it was effective. I don't know. It's tough. I'll have
It's
to
certainly not a
rewatch the
stupid
original and see.
story.
Yeah.
I don't think it's dumb.
It still works in every way. They just kind of connected those dots in a different order.
I think I became borderline distracted by the differences throughout, especially
It's pretty different.
getting blue balled by the lack of the ball happening. Like that was crazy.
Yeah. I also thought it was supposed to happen in the 1700s, like the original Disney one. So like I was like, how is Leonardo da Vinci around right now? I was like, are they just pulling him out of time? Like is he died in like 1519 or something? So I thought it took place in the same time. But yeah, I looked it up and I was like, okay, we're in the Middle Ages.
Yeah, we're in the 16th century,
Yeah.
I believe so. You are maybe the most interesting one because you had never seen Cinderella. You had to watch a 5-minute Cinderella for Dummies.
Everything
We
you
told you to
guys-
go in blind, by the way. and you ignored us.
I don't know if it made much of a difference, but
Nah,
I just,
probably
It
not.
didn't. It didn't.
So
I
you're
don't know. Everything you guys have had gripes with, it's just like that was just the movie.
Right.
I don't have any frame of reference
you're
for why
not.
that's good or
are
bad.
you fairy tales at all? Because you like I watched a lot of this crap because I had a younger sister. Your sister's older than you,
Yeah.
and you are also like probably just watching Bible Man
Yeah.
and whatever else.
I meant to like text my mom the other night and be like, "What did I even watch growing up? What did I do?
You
What
should
were you
do that.
I don't know."
And also be like, Cinderella's not that bad, Mom. What the hell? Like I had to do that with my mom with Lord of the Rings. Be like, it's not. Or Harry Potter. I'm like, what were you on about?
Yeah.
Harry
they
Potter's
say
fine.
Harry Potter's fine.
spells.
Witchcraft.
It
Yeah.
was the whole witchcraft thing. I wasn't allowed to play Pokemon either as a kid. Like a lot of weird restrictions.
Because it
in
stands
there.
for pocket
But
monster.
Cinderella still made it through for you. I don't know why not me.
Well, it was most of the high fantasy stuff that my family was not. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
my
No, same.
parents were children of the 70s with the whole D&D scare and that being witchcraft and all that stuff. And, you know, a fantasy was a buzzword for, it was a synonym with satanic, basically, if you were in the right/wrong circle of the 1970s. Dan Harmon talks about this all the time on Harmontown because he grew up. He's our parents' age and was into D&D and stuff. So... but no, I'm interested. So you're not many fairy tales at all.
No.
So you're have the very, very odd position of watching fairy tales for the first time as a 30-year-old man.
Yeah.
Should be interesting.
Well,
So what does it do for you, or what does it not do?
this didn't even really. Maybe I just don't know how to define fairy tale. This didn't feel like a fairy tale to me. It was just
Interesting.
because I thought there was going to be more magic, and like I think that would have made it feel.
You should watch the original.
This was just a love story, sort of. I don't know.
Is that why you?
I don't have a
like
lot of thoughts on
Because
it.
it's a
Do you
love
li-
story.
It's
Well-
more historical
you-
than fantasy.
it? Does it work more for you because it strips out the fantasy and replaces and grounds it a little more? Like, why does it work? Is it just the writing, or is it setting as well?
Well, I definitely like the setting because, like I've said, I like period stuff.
Yeah, Pride and
But I
Prejudice.
also I love magic and musicals, which this is
This is
neither.
not, and the Disney movies they toe the line of music.
But yeah, I don't know. I like the love story, and I don't remember. I had a thought, and now it's gone.
It is definitely more love story than the original. Like Sleeping Beauty, for example, is kind of like borderline essay-ish because it's like, oh,
She,
kiss this sleeping
Yeah.
lady and she'll wake up. That's kind of gross.
Well, and like Sleeping Beauty has like no talking lines in her own movie. Like
yeah,
she's
she
asleep the whole
literally
movie.
she pricks her finger on a, what do you call them?
Well, spinning wheel
Spinning wheel.
or whatever.
Like she's like a spinstress and she touches this thing she's not supposed to touch. Very Adam and Eve, and falls asleep. And then there's a dragon, and Sleeping Beauty kind of sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like the scene.
It's not a good movie.
I like the scene where they dance in the forest, and that's it. I don't really like
I don't
any
even
of the rest.
remember that.
Oh,
Yeah, we're gonna have
so
to
good.
hit some Disney films for you. Some of the classic stuff. Far be it from me to hold you from the classics.
okay. Oh, I remember what I was gonna
Oh,
say.
go ahead. Before we do hit me or miss.
Oh, now it's gone again. No, no. So I like my entertainment to be I like a happy ending. So I like that this is grounded, but at the same time, it's still very fantasy, as in like, you know, it's historical, but there's a lot of inaccuracies. So it's got enough of like a fairy tale-ness to it. And like, you know, this would never happen in real life. You know, in real life, when that guy like buys her and takes her to his house, she'd be chained up and like forced to marry him. She wouldn't get the choice to really rescue herself.
Yeah.
So there's still definitely some like fantasy-ness to it, but it is a lot more grounded and relationship-y. So
All right.
I don't know.
Well, let's move on.
It's 90s fantasy.
Yeah. So 90s,
Yeah.
dude.
So 90s. That's
Yeah.
me.
This is
Not
the
really.
leg warmers of fantasy. Leg warmers weren't 90s, were they?
They're the more 80s.
They're 80s.
That was yeah.
All right, well, let's do some hot points. Let's start with Danielle because it's your movie.
Hot points?
Yeah.
Or did
No,
you
hit me or miss. Hit me or miss. Sorry, I'm playing the hot
okay.
points music. I read hot points. I want to do hit me or
I
miss.
didn't do hot points because I was just so distracted by the experience with Cameron and then our
Right.
fight that I have. So it's really a shame because I was really excited to do hot points and then it just left my brain.
What can you do?
So, but as far as hit or miss,
You don't have like a gut feeling?
Yeah, the Hot Points music is playing. Screw it.
Yeah.
I don't know, because he's really not that physically hot to me.
He's got that 90s hair, though. He's got that Uncle Joey hair.
I think like a 6 or 7.
That's not terrible.
Uncle
Like,
Joe.
I don't
Jonathan
like.
Taylor Thomas here.
Yeah.
Like he's not that physically
No, he doesn't do
attractive
it for
to
you.
me, but
He's
He's
kind
got
of
to lose
old.
1 point for
he
getting
is a little
carried.
old. What?
His
He's
little,
got to lose 1 point for getting carried.
yeah.
No.
His little dick
not hot.
doesn't speak to you.
His little dick.
His little,
Yeah, that's
his,
got to be
little,
worth 2 points.
his old
No.
chap.
That thing
But-
ain't little.
Put
Nah,
your
you're
cup
right.
in your pants. Like, what was the costume department doing? I don't
know.
understand. He would definitely lose
It's a
a
weird
point.
choice.
He would lose a point for that because it's weird to
Right.
look at. I don't like it.
All right.
So,
Let's do hit, me, or miss now. Starting with you.
well, obviously for me, it's a hit.
Obviously, for you, it's a
It's
hit.
one of my favorite movies.
I'm interested in Carl.
He's gonna give it a
I-
miss for like the first time ever.
No,
Yeah,
he's
I
given
think
misses
it might.
before.
Yeah, I'm giving some misses. I'm going to give it a miss just because it's not my kind of movie. And honestly, I'm a little upset that I watched this twice and she got out of watching my movie. So maybe it's a little bit of.
This is a vindictive miss.
Carl, can I just tell you how vindictive I would have been on the last episode?
Dude, it would have been
To-
rough.
It would have been fun.
I would have gotten as soon as you tried to assign any deep meaning to Superbad, I would have been like,
We don't need to talk about that movie ever again.
Yeah, we've done enough lip service, or I have for a lifetime.
So, miss for
I
you. I
apologize.
feel like that was obvious. Nick.
This is because I went into this not knowing anything about Cinderella. This was just a
movie.
brand new story for me.
So insane.
And
So insane.
on top of that, knowing it was obviously from Cinderella, I expected a lot more magic and mystery, and
Yeah.
it was a miss for me.
Miss. I'm going to go mid because I can't get over the changes. They don't do it for me. I prefer the original, really the Brothers Grimm original Cinderella story. And if you were going to like Febreze clean that up, I want the Disney animated version from the 50s. I didn't hate it. I thought it was slow, but I wasn't like "Meow," for really any of it. But the slipper taking a backseat bummed me out. I don't know. I can't get over that.
I didn't expect you guys to like it, but no regrets on picking
No, it's
it.
good.
regrets.
And speaking
So-
of making us like things, we're reviving the
Oh,
bucket
no.
for season 2.
4 more chances.
We're reviving the bucket for season 2, and we're going to do our second themed month in a row. Not every month will be themed. If I didn't
These
just
two
play
will.
the Hot Point music, I would play it again because it's very romantic.
It is very
We are
romantic.
doing Romcom month for February. It's the month of love.
Clap, clap, clap.
One of
clap.
my least favorite holidays of all time
Yep.
is Valentine's Day.
But it's right after my birthday, which is your favorite holiday because I'm your favorite and I'm your wife and you love me so much.
I don't really have a favorite holiday. I think holidays are dumb. Valentine's Day is my third least favorite holiday.
What's your first?
Yeah, now we need to know the
All
whole
the
breakdown.
Hallmark holidays piss me off. So Mother's Day, Father's
Okay.
Day.
I don't really count those. Like, you don't get a day off work. Well, I guess you don't get a day off work for Valentine's Day.
No, you do not. But I don't know. I don't like any of the Hallmark holidays because it's just blatant consumerism.
It's just
and
pressure.
It gives our parents ways to make us feel bad for not.
Correct.
You didn't call.
Yeah. Yeah. It's makes me really mad. So why don't you do the honors? So we picked 4 movies, 4 rom-coms for
We have
February.
4 rom-coms.
Who knows what they are? Because I don't.
I know what they are. They will be a surprise to
Do you
you
want-
two because we have the
I don't wanna
bucket.
know.
He doesn't want to know. You picked
I want to
one.
be surprised.
You picked
You
one.
picked one. I picked one. Danielle picked
Okay.
one, and Danielle and I picked the 4th. Sorry, Nick.
I'm just happy to be here.
So the one I picked, if
The one I picked is barely a rom-com.
barely a
I will
rom-com.
say that.
You didn't know Cinderella. You're not going to know any rom
No, yeah.
Come on.
I should have not been involved.
you don't need pre-existing knowledge for rom-coms. But if we hadn't already had rom-com month planned, the movie we're watching would be in place of Ever
And
After.
anyway, yep.
So,
And we're pulling, right? We're pulling at
all right,
random.
you want me to pull?
So
Okay.
right, so we have these are
I
all
really
pretty
don't-
much 3 of these are bona fide classics, and then there's the one I wanted to shoehorn in because it's technically a rom-com,
I
but it is
really-
also my favorite Sinatra film of all time.
I really
far.
don't want to pull that first, but it's whatever fate.
If you pull it, rig it because I don't want to watch it first.
What do I pick first then?
Just pull,
Okay.
but just pull something. We'll figure it out.
This is the one I was going to rig and I pulled it. It is Carl's
Nice.
pick, 10 Things I Hate About You.
All right.
When did I pick this?
Like last year. As soon as we came up
This
with
is the one that Carl said one time 12
this
months
was-
ago.
Yeah.
This was the one with Heath Ledger?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I did want to see that.
Yes. This is a
That's the Bleachers
absolute
one?
classic rom-com. Heath Ledger is in it. He's
Rip
fantastic.
and Peps.
R.I.P.
Should have watched A Knight's Tale instead. It's a good movie.
The year's not over.
That's
I
true.
thought you were going to say La La Land.
you
I was
seen
like,
A Knight's
I don't
Tale?
think, when did I suggest that?
No, La La Land's coming, but that's not going to be in rom-com month. It's not one of the four. So,
Gotcha.
10 things I hate about
10 Things
you.
I Hate About You. A great one to start off with.
I feel like there's no real misses. The one I picked is kind of an odd man out,
But
it
it's
is
still-
technically
It's
Yeah, that's
still
like
great.
a quintessential
rom-com.
rom-com.
It's technically a rom-com. The other three are quintessential rom-com. So we are going to get in the mood
Yeah.
of love and watch 10 Things I Hate About You.
Which is based off of a Shakespearean play.
There you go. We
I want to say the Taming,
we love our
of, Taming
Shakespeare.
of the Shrew.
We've been to his theater, the
We
Globe
have.
Theater in London. And the Globe is where we all live. And it is where we will all watch 10 Things I Hate About You. Thanks for listening.
Well done.
Follow us on everything. Like the video.
Join
Leave a
Discord.
comment telling me why I'm wrong for not liking this movie very much. Join the Discord, please. Tell your mom about us. And we were going to watch 10 Things I Hate About You. And we'll catch you in the next one.